Do you think you need a joint venture partnership to scale a real estate portfolio? Think again. You can only buy real estate if you partner up with people. The only way to scale is with joint ventures. You can't do this on your own. I have heard all of the above. Mel and I, when we first started, everyone told us, if you want to scale a real estate portfolio, you have to joint venture. In today's video, I'm going to give you 7 reasons why not to joint venture. Hey, so why should you listen to me? My wife, Mel, and I have now purchased over 260 units in 5 different countries: Canada, US, Costa Rica, Mexico, and Dominican Republic. And all of those were done with 0 joint ventures. Mel and I have been doing this for over 25 plus combined years, and we are the proud founders of the Action Family Mentoring Program, where we show people to do exactly the same thing as us, is grow a real estate portfolio with no joint venture partners. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, hit the bell to get notified. We release a video most weeks. Let's dive into it. These are the 7 top reasons why not to do joint venture partnerships. Okay, number 1 is the biggest to me: decisions. Decision making is huge. And what do I mean by this? With joint venture partners, you typically will own it 50-50. And I'll just use that example for today. I know there's a bunch of different ways. I'm not the expert on joint ventures here, but typically it's a 50-50 ownership. And what does that mean? Let's say you're trying to make a decision right now as to, let's refinance. Okay, I want to refinance the property. And I go to my partner and they say, I'm not ready to refinance right now because I believe that interest rates will continue to go down, and I want to wait 6 months, a year, until we can get an even better interest rate. And then I say to the partner, well, I need the money right now. For example, I'm putting my kid through college. I want to buy a cottage. I need to do XYZ with it. Literally, you cannot do whatever you want. You cannot do or make the decisions that you want, because it is 50-50 ownership. You guys are jointly owners, right? Joint venture. So decisions is a huge thing. Mel and I in our portfolio, I gave the example of going to college. When Mel's daughter went to college, we refinanced one of our properties and paid her education. It was not when interest rates were at the exact best time, right? I understand that, but we made the conscious decision that, hey, we bought this property to pay for her education at one point, and now's the time to refinance it, and we don't have to ask anyone. So decisions is probably the number 1 reason why Mel and I don't do joint ventures. I never ever want to have to ask someone, can I do this with my building? Should we do this? And have to, be able to, or have to listen to no, we're not going to do that with our building, right? So that's why Mel and I, this is the number 1 reason why we don't do JVs, joint ventures: decisions. We control our portfolio. We decide what we want to do, when we want to do it. I'm not looking for another boss here. That's why we got into real estate. So decisions is the number 1 reason why I strongly recommend you don't do JVs. You don't need it anyway, right? We can show you how to do it without them. Okay, number 2, appreciation. So appreciation is when a building starts out here, the market appreciates, and then the asset ends up here in value. Or another way for appreciation is forced appreciation. Okay, so you buy the building here, you do the typical BRRRR method, and you lift the building in a valuation, which means you've appreciated the building, right? Forced appreciation. Now, with a joint venture partnership, and in that 50-50 example like I gave earlier, you're only getting 50% of that market appreciation, right? Because you only own half. So everything is halved into this deal. So even your appreciation, so if you're picking a great market, and let's take, for example, you're like, hey, this market is going to go up by 10%. You can almost say, well, no, it's not. It's actually for you in a joint venture partnership, only owning half, it's only actually going up 5%, right? Because again, you're only getting 50% of it. So instead of getting the full market appreciation, the full forced appreciation, you're only getting half in this example that I made up. So appreciation, again, is not as good in a joint venture partnership, in my opinion. Let's move on to number 3, PNW, personal net worth / equity. Okay, so your personal net worth is typically deemed upon how much equity you have in a building. Okay, so let's make it up. Let's say you own one asset and you have a $500,000 mortgage and the asset is worth $1 million. Easy math, right? You've got a mortgage of 500, you've got equity of 500. The equity piece is your personal net worth. And why is this important? So let's say you're applying for financing. Sometimes they will look at your personal net worth in order to help you qualify for the deal. When you own your buildings in a joint venture partner, again, you only own, in this example, half, 50%. So let's say that example, you just went from $500,000 equity, personal net worth, right, if that's your only building, to $250,000. So if you're trying to qualify for different things, it literally has a correlation on your personal net worth statement. When we fill these out for the bank, I am very proud because I'll say, I give them the address, I give them the liability, the debt owing on the property, I give them the evaluation of what it's worth, the market worth, and then down at the end it says ownership percentage. And Mel and I always put 100% because we don't do JVs. And at the bottom, like if we literally took our PNW and we put 50% or 40% or 60% on all those properties, we would be cutting our PNW in half. And the way I look at it as, you have to do the work anyway. Why not get 100% of the benefit? So if you're looking at building your personal net worth and you're looking at building equity in your buildings, joint ventures will literally give you half of what you could be doing on your own. Number 4, roles. Okay, this one, again, I've got 3 top ones. This is my top one. This is probably my second one, the roles. And let's dive into it because defining roles in a joint venture, again, you can have a contract. You can have a 1,000-page contract that tries to highlight every single scenario. You can never have a contract that highlights every single scenario. And even if you had a 1,000-page contract that highlights every single possible what if and this and that, and who's gonna sign that, right? Who's gonna sign a 1,000-page contract? So when I talk about joint ventures and I talk about roles, what I mean by this, there's typically a working partner and there's typically a money partner, okay? And I didn't get it specifically in that because again, I wanna show you the 7 reasons why Mel and I don't do it. But the working partner is typically the person that is going to do the project, execute the project, find the deal, negotiate it, do the legwork. On acquisition, they make sure that it's managed, that it's tenanted, that renovations are going on time and on budget, everything like that. So what I find the issue here is you can have, in writing and everything that the working partner will oversee the building, do this, do that. There comes a time when is the working partner going to hire out a property manager to oversee it? Okay, so now they're not necessarily doing all the work, they're overseeing the property manager, which can be very easy. I don't know why you would pay a working partner to do that. But it's how much of it are they doing? Is their time basically for free now? Do they just give all their time in regards to overseeing the projects, right? Like it's that fine line. And this is what ends up happening because I talk to so many people, and that's going to be our last point. I talk to so many people that come to me and say, Dave, we thought we had our roles defined. We thought everything was on paper, but then this came up or this arised, right? And now it threw a wrench in the plan. So that's the working partner. There's also the money partner. So for example, the money partner comes up typically with the down payment. They'll put in the deal. They might help with financing. Again, every JV is different and I'm not the expert on the JVs, but the money partner, there might be some issues there as well. Let's say, I put $100,000 into the deal for the down payment. And as the money partner, they might say, I want 10% interest, 12% interest. So I want you to pay me on my money. And then I also want 50% of the deal and the appreciation. Well, if you think about this, that working partner could have just borrowed that $100K and paid them the interest without having to actually give them ownership. That's exactly what Mel and I do. We borrow other people's money, we pay them interest, we do not give them any equity in the deal. That stays with us so that we can continue doing this. But this is where it gets weird, right? So the roles, the money partner puts the money in, makes interest on that money, also gets 50% of the deal, like we had mentioned earlier. Let's say something comes up. Let's say we had budgeted $50,000 for the renovations. Okay, you're going to oversee it, working partner. Money partner's going to put in the money. Oh no, the project went sideways. The contractor found, insert here, cast iron pipes that we need to change out. They found knob and tube or aluminum wiring. They found asbestos. I've had buildings where I take off the drywall. Oh, it's a log home, and now we have structural and foundation issues. All of a sudden, the working partner goes back to the money partner and says, hey, we need another 30K. And the money partner goes, what do you mean you need another 30K? Like, I thought you did all your due diligence. I thought everything was done. This is where I see issues start to arise. Okay, so it's the roles. Again, as much as you can have everything in writing, real life is different and scenarios come at you very quickly, okay? Number 5, cash flow. I should have put some money signs here. Cash flow. Now I see it too. Some people will typically say 50% of the cash flow, right? So every single month, let's say the building makes, I don't know, $1,000 a month. You now have to give $500 of that to someone else. Some people will have it where, you know what, we'll do a 75-25% split. So I give you $100,000, right, as my role as the money partner. Well, every single month, I want to make sure that I get, 75% of the cash flow and you get 25% until my money is made whole, right? Or when it appreciates and we get a refinance, I get made whole first and then you get what's left over. So I've seen so many different agreements. So again, but the cash flow, which is what everyone's after, is literally going to be split. So you're getting half of the money that you could have gotten if you had done the deal on its own, okay? Number 6, trust and honest, right? And honesty, I should have put a Y there. Trust and honesty. This is something, guys, that I see a lot of issues with because as the money partner, you've entrusted the working partner with this project, with your money, with the funds, right? It's a huge trust factor and you're hoping that they're gonna be honest. And what I mean by that is, again, in their roles, like if they're on top of the renovations, are they actually making sure that the budget, that they're getting all the receipts, that they're making sure the contractors are, if they've given a budget, that they're actually staying on time and all that. So you're putting a lot of trust into someone else and you're hoping that they are being honest, that they are, do you have access to all the bank accounts? Do you have access to all the ins and outs? Are you seeing if, every dollar is being accounted for? It's all of that stuff that, again, in the end, you're relying on a lot of other people and you're hoping that you're gonna have this again, that you're gonna have trust and that you're gonna have honesty. And I'm not saying that people will lie or be dishonest. However, even in our portfolio where Mel and I manage everything with our own managers, our in-house managers, right? We don't do JVs. It's still sometimes, you'll have a contractor that might, maybe they bought supplies for another job and we have to stay on it. So this is a huge issue that I see with JVs. It's staying on top of things, the trust, the honesty, and you're depending on other people to make sure that your project goes well. All right, the last one, number 7. Here is the third one, right? Decisions, roles. Number 3, the top reason I do not do joint ventures. Hey, stop the video for a second. I wanted to talk to you about a turnkey income property provider that Mel and I have purchased properties for. Now listen up. If you are looking for a income property, then you don't have the time for it. I have a solution for you that I have invested in myself. They will find the property for you, they will renovate it for you, they will give you a turnkey product, and they will get tenants in there for you after screening it and manage the property. Does this sound too good to be true? It is not. I want to introduce you to Rent to Retirement, okay? We've actually partnered up with them. They are sponsoring this video and they have an exclusive list just for you because you're watching a video from Investor Mel and Dave. So click the link below, go check out this exclusive list, find your next turnkey income property, and book your free call with them so they can go through all the benefits of what they provide. And you'll be investing in properties just like Mel and I. Okay, enough excitement about this. Let's get back to the episode. Okay. And this is something, again, over the years, because of our Action Family Mentoring program where we show people to do it without joint venture partners, I have people that come to me and I feel so bad for them because I hear their stories. They'll say, Mel and Dave, we came to you because we've had to go through this route. We've had to go through lawyers, attorneys, we've had to do litigation in order to make it right. And if you think back, like if you literally think back to joint ventures, okay? At the core of it, right? Money partner, working partner. You have two separate parties who are trying to come together to achieve a common goal, which is, getting appreciation, having cash flow and all that. That's the goal, that's the intent. And everyone is on, you know, the same page and trying to take the best foot forward on it. That's the intent in the beginning. However, the reality of it, right, we're all human. This party over here and this party over here, they both have competing interests, meaning this party over here might have someone going to school. This party over here might be looking at doing something with the money, or they want to park it for 5 years and not touch it and just pay down the mortgage. But what I'm getting at is there are competing interests, and as of all the people I talk to, it's a lot of the same. And I'm not saying JVs can't work, but the reasons why we don't do it is a lot of the times it finally comes to a head, and when those competing interests and they don't see eye to eye anymore, then unfortunately it lands in the hands of attorneys and lawyers and it ends up in litigation. What once seemed like a great idea, and yes, this will be the first project we'll do a lot, eventually might end up in a lot of bitterness and a lot of, you said you would do this, but you didn't. You said that I could be hands off and trust and all that, but you didn't. You were supposed to provide me with bank statements. You were supposed to provide me with the accounting. You were supposed to make sure the contractor stayed up to date. And then the working partner might say, well, hey, money partner, you were supposed to stay silent. You were supposed to let me do my thing. You were supposed to not breathe down my neck. Again, I just feel it's competing interests, and whenever this is involved, right? I shouldn't say cash flow, but whenever this is involved, money signs, whenever money's involved, people change, right? And what was first the intent in the beginning might change in the end. So these are the top 7 reasons why Mel and I like to do it without, you know what I mean, without JVs. Because of this. And I'm not saying you can't make money with JVs. I'm not saying I have a lot of friends that make money with JVs. But at the end of the day, I'm telling you, and please, when I first started my portfolio, people would always tell us you have to do a joint venture. Okay, my dad, rest in peace, Dad, but he had also told us before, he had partnered up with 4 people. And again, what ended up happening? They all sold the portfolio because it was 4 people with 4 different opinions, with 4 competing interests, and they could not be on the same page. I remember him telling me, never partner up because it's going to be an issue at one point. So hopefully you like this video. And again, if you are interested in building a portfolio without JVs, okay, because it is doable. Again, you can buy properties, you can pay people interest, right? You don't need to give them equity. That's exactly what we do. Use other people's money, pay them interest, keep the equity. If you want to do that, send us a message, right? Follow us on all social media platforms. It's always at Investor Mel Dave, Investor MEL Dave, all one word, and we can definitely help you. Hey, thank you so much for staying right to the end. And if you liked this type of video, make sure to check out our next one. I'm Dave, and I'll see you there.